Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's show, Graded Point Live, and as you can see, Mark Waid is at it again.
Isn't he ever not at it again? I mean,
I don't know.
I cannot think of an instance in which he has not been at it.
Yeah. He's like,
When,
if Mark Waid's involved, he is somehow at it. Right?
Whether it's as him being Wade or in his other persona, Mark Zaid.
You remember those old, the McGruff Crime Dog commercials back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
And he had that one where it was like he had his son named Scruff.
Oh no!
And
I thought Scruff was Scruff McGruff the crime dog, and then his kid was like Rough.
It might have been
or something like that.
Because he did they had this one time where the guy who does the voice for McGruff, he's just like, and they had him sing a jingle, right? It was like, if you have any information about missing children, please call Scruff McGruff, Chicago, Illinois 60652. I don't know why that stuck out to me and I remembered it like that, but I'm just imagining Waid and Zaid. He's like, call Waid and Zaid.
if you know where I can abduct the children, call Z.
Mm-hmm. Well, the stream, Mike, the stream bot is functioning flawlessly.
Fantabulous.
No, and I mean when I mean flawlessly, I mean it's shitting the bed right now.
Yeah, that's what I meant too. Fantabulous.
It's a stream elements bot running elements.
Nice. Thank you for advertising our the bot by using through the bot itself.
Yeah, we're running
Right
a test
into the
tonight,
chat.
guys, for a chat bot. Doing this as a favor for Crystal McGee because she's going to do a stream tomorrow and she wanted a good chat bot. So I said I'll be glad to test it out on my channel. So if it works correctly, it'll start linking the Patreon and the Subscribe Star in chat. So hey, we'll see how it works. Heidi ho, don't everyone smell like flowers? I hope you've been getting lots of fiber. Wow, okay, that's thank you for that.
That's a little weird. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your all that.
Your little bit of weirdness.
Yeah. Guys, I have not dropped frames.
Like on your end? Sure, yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, for once it hasn't dropped frames. And I say that and guess what it's probably going to do in a minute. Like
You completely shit the bed.
No, but usually by now it would be dropping something, like
Shobanai, my nibba. Shobanai.
yeah, where's Piper? That's a good question. We tagged her a couple times in chat, and she popped in, and I said, "Hey, what's going on?"
Going on, big girl.
Yeah, and she didn't answer, so I don't know. I hope she's all right, because I asked her if she okay, and she didn't answer us, so I don't know. Of course, if she wants to pop in, she's welcome to pop in any time because, hey, it's just as much her show as it is ours. So.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really could be anything. A Vision Quest.
A Vision Quest. Yeah. Quick question about the other bots. Are the porno bots still spamming channels that have been a problem with them like Nick has had? I don't know.
He's what?
Apparently Nick Ricade has been having trouble with bots.
Nice.
Okay, I did just get a frame drop, but it was only 15% instead of 60%, so it did help.
Ow!
Usually it gets like 69% frame drop.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
But it was only 15.
Did you just sneeze so hard it turned off your phone?
I guess so.
Me big Indian. me have strong breath. me turn off electronics with mighty wind.
Fuck.
At least it's the wind from that end, right? Like we don't want to know about the other end.
Yeah, if I ever fucking pull that off, I'll let you guys fucking know because that'd be fucking
You turn your phone off with it.
just this huge fart.
And on that day, 15,000 electronics went offline.
We don't go rolling with. Anyway,
Don't go rolling of the disabled tribe.
So how did Mark Waid fuck up this time?
Yeah, let's talk about how that. So, the brilliant Mark Waid and his attorney. In this case, it's not Zaid. It's the one Zaid hired for him in Texas to try to deal with this. They're doing a defendant's motion to dismiss plaintiff's first amended complaint for lack of personal jurisdiction. Basically, standard stuff. Kind of read through this. I don't want to try to get too. Okay, plaintiff Richard Meyer brought this suit against Mark Waid, a California citizen, in an illegitimate effort to intimidate and silence Waid. Illegitimate. Waid is a well-known comic book author who has written stories featuring many of the world's iconic superheroes, such as Superman, Captain America, Wonder Woman, Daredevil, to name a few. Plaintiff created a YouTube channel to promote his views that comics have become too diverse in gender, race, sexuality, in terms of characters and creators. Views that are regularly expressed with patently offensive and hateful language, targeting not just the work itself, but the creative people behind it. Plaintiff also
Can I point out something?
Yes.
They weren't even like, hey, Waid has written critically successful or financially successful. He's just written comic books that feature those characters. So that is not like he is a professional. That's just like I have written comic books that have Superman in them.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can fucking take a piece of paper and draw Superman on it. You've written a comic book with Superman.
Yeah. So plaintiff saw hateful language targeting, blah blah blah. Plaintiff also sought to create his own book entitled Jawbreakers Lost Souls. When a publisher decided not to publish his book after learning about plaintiff's ongoing negative campaign against diversity. Plaintiff baselessly blamed Waid.
I'm just going to point out that they're running a fucking campaign against diversity. Holy shit. Yeah. They are running that shit into the ground so hard.
Yep.
Fuck.
All right, Mike, you ready for this? You ready for your moment? Plaintiff baselessly blamed Waid, who is an outspoken proponent of diversity and defender of women. Oh!
I mean...
It gets better. It gets better. And others historically underrepresented in the comics industry.
So is that... Like, is that a declarative statement? That
yes!
So that is a legally declarative statement. So if there is no actual proof that Mark Waid has defended women... or...
then he could lose this fucking case because of it.
Potentially, because it, like, if that sets a precedent of a lie for this entire thing, just because Mark Waid was like, I'm gonna get some fucking brownie points in this.
Yeah, I want to be legally recognized that I defend women.
So if there is ever a court case or something where Mark Waid testifies that he saw an assault happening on a woman and did not intervene, Mark Waid is legally a liar.
Yeah, because he did not defend a woman. Yep. Oh. Chat says, I hero of woman, LOL. Yeah, Jameson said, that sentence struck because of relevance, damn. Get out of here with that shit, dude. Let's see. What blah, 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 restore. Rather than putting the blame where it belongs, plaintiff's own unfavorable reputation he created through his personal words and conduct. Plaintiff's refusal to accept responsibility and appetite for attention culminated in this baseless lawsuit. Okay, let me tell you something, a little something I've learned about Zach, just watching him and stuff like that. Zach, especially since he left Twitter, does not really care about attention. He barely knows what's going on in the world anyway. The only thing he wants attention on is his book and his channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all he really cares about. He doesn't want, like, people like going after his jobs or, coming after his family or anything like that. It's a dumb statement to make. Now, remember, I want to point out that, this is a baseless statement because a publisher decided not to publish him. We're leaving out the fact that my client contacted the publisher before that happened. I'm just going to conveniently leave that part out. Plaintiff asserts claim for tortious interference with contract and defamation. These claims are completely meritless. But the problem at the outset, which is proper to address, is that the court lacks personal jurisdiction over defendant Waid. Now, here we go. That's the key. That's the key to trying to wiggle out of this, is that they don't have jurisdiction. The court doesn't have jurisdiction.
Wait, is Waid saying the court doesn't have jurisdiction over him?
Yeah, because he doesn't live in Texas.
So, one, that's a terrible precedent because, hey, I don't live in, let's say California.
Right.
So the court doesn't have jurisdiction over me. So I'm just going to jump in a fucking Lamborghini, drive it off the lot, grab an Uzi, and start spraying everywhere. But you can't stop me because the court doesn't have jurisdiction over me.
Mm-hmm. Well, you see, Your Honor, those crimes occurred in California, and as you can see, I am currently in Alabama, and
that's like 5 states away.
That's like 4 or 5 states away, sir. I don't believe that the California courts have any jurisdiction over me, so that judge would look at you like you were the most retarded individual on earth. Son, are you serious? You got something wrong with your head. Plaintiff's tortious interference claim is based entirely on a single phone call between Waid, who is in California at the time, and a San Antonio publishing company. That is far short of the necessary substantial connection with Texas to justify personal jurisdiction. Waid did not.
San Antonio's in Texas.
Yeah. That's like wasn't in was that in that line in Happy Gilmore? He's like, oh yeah, huh? And Grizzly Adams had a beard. Grizzly Adams did have a beard. Look, just because, guys, let me say, Mike Raptro, let me just explain this to you. Just because I looked up a phone number that has a Texas area code and called said phone number that is in Texas and with a Texas area code, I didn't know that it was in Texas.
That's if that is genuinely a defense he has.
That's pretty much what that's his defense. Yes.
Okay. There's an amazing little hole in because does Mark Waid have a Twitter account?
He did.
Did he use it at any point around the time that this happened?
He did.
That means Mark Waid had access to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark Waid, being the responsible adult he is, could have looked up the information before acting.
Yep. There is that whole term, ignorance of the law is not a defense.
Yep.
Guys, I didn't know murder was against the law. I'm just saying.
Nobody told me stabbing a hooker 37 times was illegal.
Yeah. Look, officer, I'm sorry. Okay, look, okay, I'll apologize for going 250 miles per hour in this 35 mile per hour school zone and killing all those children, but I didn't know it was against the law.
Listen, I understand I ate a lot of children, What I did wasn't morally.
It was survival of the fittest.
And they were much less fit than I was.
But you know what? Fortunately for them, they were actually pretty tasty. They may not have been fit, but they fit right here where it counts.
Mm-hmm.
In my belly. Anyway,
So just to point out, the stream elements thing is posting the links on time. So far so good. It's working good.
Okay. All right. So it only shielded itself once.
So far, it's going to do it every 5 and 7 minutes. So.
No. I meant like the bot itself.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is the bot from this place.
Yeah. Don't forget, Marvel has done business with Antarctic Press a few times before. Yeah, see, and at the time, Mark Waid's working for Marvel. I mean, what was that conversation? You know, because Antarctic Press they have a in-house studio that does coloring for Marvel sometimes. You know, I'm just saying. Let's see. Your Honor, in my defense, I had no idea it was illegal to rush into a Walmart with a chainsaw and cut up dozens of people. Surely there was an old Rolodex with the area code and address. I mean, the thing is, he says he was given the number. His thing is, he said, I was given the number from a friend. Never says who the friend is, by the way.
So, if his friend gave him the number,
yeah,
and it was supposed to be to Antarctic Press, but really it could have been to anybody, anywhere, right?
Yep.
So, how was Mark Waid supposed to know that was actually the number to Antarctic Press?
Exactly. I don't believe for a second that he got the number from. I think he looked it up online.
I don't believe Mark Waid has friends.
Yeah, that's another good point. I believe he looked the number up online. I think that's how he got it. And, of course, that's going to say that Antarctic Press is based in Texas. You know?
Yeah. Mr. Waid, for the court, can you please name at least one of your friends? Joshua? Joshua what, Mr. Waid? Courtroomson?
Joshua Courtroomson.
Whose mother is Lady of Justice.
Oh.
Judge.
Go ahead.
No, Lady of Justice, Judgica. Like,
Judgica.
Like, you can't come up with anything.
Yeah.
I mean, we already know he can't come up with anything. I've read his comic books.
If Mark Waid had friends, they would have donated more than $20 to his GoFundMe. Yeah, that was funny. These industry people, that, were supporting his GoFundMe, they were like giving like $10 and $20 and stuff like that.
That's because standing with Mark Waid doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
Have you seen what Marvel pays? Fuck.
That's true. Yeah. God, wouldn't y'all love to see Marvel and DC's pay scales for their talent?
I don't want to be that depressed.
I mean, I would like to see it because I want to kind of grade how much squalor that these people are probably living in. Another great podcast.
A pure morbid curiosity kind. I want to know who let's say Donny Cates, who's currently like one of their, and I'm doing air quotes here, star writers because he's written several popular books in a row. I would like to see what somebody like him gets paid compared to somebody like a Kate Leth who can't get a book off the ground.
It's funny. Just on a side note, you remember that thing that came out a couple weeks ago, or I think it was this past week, where was it Warren Ellis? He won't be able to do Wildcats because was it Wildcats? Or Youngblood? No, it might have been Wildcats. No. What was the book? Whatever it was. He was doing a book, and the thing was his artist was Robbie Rectum. The guy.
Did he damn near kill him?
Well, no, that's the guy who sent EVS his picture of his butthole.
Ah.
And he was supposed to draw it, and he didn't draw it. And then, like, Jim Lee had this whole thing. He says, well, nobody's more disappointed, except for maybe Warren, in this not getting off the ground than I am. Maybe one day we'll find the right artist. I was like, how about you? You're an artist?
I would, but my hands are so just full of all of this executive money.
Dry.
Yeah. Yeah. But he can get on streams and, like, draw Goku versus Batman and shit like that. So, get out of here, Jim. Love your art, but come on. Jim Lee's like that guy who's already made his millions and he doesn't give a shit what's going on anymore.
Listen, they're still paying me to be here. I'm basically just retired.
Right.
I kicked out like 8 of the other executives, and we made like a fucking mini golf course in this floor, and it's sick.
Yep. We also cut this bitch in arcade. It's got Street Fighter 2.
We have Pac-Man and Ms. Pac-Man. How crazy is that?
Dan Didio has the high score for Donkey Kong. It's great.
He nearly got to the kill screen once, man. He's gonna do it with him.
Yeah. Steve Wiebe, eat your heart out.
Oh god. To go on an even further tangent, did you guys ever hear about the other guy from King of Kong?
Well, Billy Mitchell.
Billy Mitchell.
Yeah, where he was basically like cheating the whole time.
Oh, not only him, but like every other like major speedrun and like high score guy from like the mid '90s were all found out to just be cheating and using like an old emulator.
Yeah.
And it just like
boggles the mind, really.
Yeah.
Just how many of them there were that were just cheating, and you know what? How they found them out? It's because of how the elements are loaded on the screen.
Yeah. Leave it to the artists, man.
They determined that certain video games like Donkey Kong would load in from a certain order, and only on natural hardware. If you emulated that hardware, it would load on from the opposite direction.
Yeah, and a lot of the guys who were cheating were also like judges for the games, so they would just submit their own runs without approval. And it's just
what got me. You remember during that whole King of Kong thing, you know, that documentary?
Yeah.
How, you know, Steve Wiebe like beat the record, and he did it on legitimate hardware, right?
Yeah. And then Billy Mitchell just ships in a VHS.
Yeah. And what got me is like, okay, here's me thinking. All of a sudden you see a quote, you know, like on one of those things where, you know, like on old VHSs where the screen it'll fade out, and all of a sudden his like score jumped to like 1,000,000 points.
Yeah.
I'm like, and y'all are buying this?
I think a little of that was for the movie, but it really could have been that like Twin Galaxies just fucking like it was that corrupt, and it's still kind of it. Well, I mean, Twin Galaxies has really fallen apart since everybody's moved away from that.
Yeah. Because I know for a while, like I don't know how it's gone like recently, but it took Wiebe a long time to get like just even the recognition, you know, because they didn't want to believe that he did it.
Yeah.
So he had to like, I remember because at one point he had to go to Twin Galaxies and actually do it in front of them
on their arcade machine.
Yeah.
Because somebody threw a bitch fit that he had his own machine and it could have been modified.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that like the one person they should have been worried about is Billy Mitchell, because dude owned Donkey Kong machines, and he had modified boards, and he would just go open up a machine, and put in the modified board.
Yep.
And
then like I said, then on top of that, like he's allowed to just submit VHSs of just so, don't you find nobody questioned to find it convenient that, you know, Wiebe breaks the record and and then, you know, Mitchell just conveniently finds this VHS tape where he had broken it years earlier, and it just so happened to be higher than what Wiebe had just did.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that even though this is like in the 2000s, he submitted a VHS.
Yeah, DVDs were available by then, man.
Yeah.
I think the first HD camera was like commercially available, 2003?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking Billy Mitchell's hot sauce is fucking garbage.
Yep.
Oh god, all this speedrun talk reminds me of this one trick that was banned from like GoldenEye 007 speedruns for the fucking N64.
Mm-hmm.
There was a whole like fucking hullabaloo over it. A bunch of mods running the forum that were very specifically in tune with this particular form of autism were talking about how this guy shaved like 3 minutes off of like the world's greatest time.
Mm-hmm.
And the insane thing was is that it required you stripping your a second N64 controller and then plugging it in, and so that way the circuit was exposed on the controller. And when you got to a certain point in a level, say like the one where you had to wait for exactly 1 minute and a half before you could go any further with the game.
Mm-hmm.
What happened is that if you put your hand on the bare circuitry of the second controller, you could short out the game just a little bit, that it doesn't know what the fuck to do, and it lets you go through the level. And it cuts down on the time because it stops the time as long as your hand is on that thing.
So essentially an exploit.
Yes,
well,
it's a.
I mean, speedrunning is all just exploits. I mean,
but it got banned because it required hardware. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, I know speedrunning is just exploits because like I see what's that one that people do in Castlevania, like the jumping backwards.
Oh, the moonwalk or whatever the hell it's.
Yeah.
It's got like a specific.
Because for some reason, like it makes you go a little bit faster or something like that.
Yeah.
I've seen a few of speedrunners that they do something. They either like do it backwards, like certain because like if like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, for example, Alucard has that backdash, and just constantly backdashing is faster than running, forward.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like Alucard's just like you just watch somebody doing a speedrun. It's like you're. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite speedruns is there's a YouTube video of it. It's from one of the events, but it's for the game Two Worlds. That kind of jank European RPG. But like about a minute into the game, the main bad guy shows up. The guy, you beat him, you beat the game. So what the dude does is he skips the dialogue for it by running around the town, punches him, runs into the town, so that when the bad guy kills him, it does splash damage onto one of the villagers, and all of the villagers run out and beat the big bad to death. and all he has to do is get the final hit, because he has to be the one to get the final hit.
Yeah.
And then the game just ends in the first village.
Oh man. Need an exploit like that for Shenmue, where you could just like fight Land D immediately. I'll have my revenge, and you immediately get your revenge. It's like, oh, that was the guy who created the game. Like, well, that wasn't what I was expecting. That'll work. I mean, isn't there like a thing too? And like, I think it was the last Legend of Zelda, where you could literally go right to the end boss if you wanted to.
Oh yeah.
You were more than likely going to get your shit kicked in, but.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can actually kill. Fuck, I forget every requirement of it, but like it basically just hands you a horde, it hands you a weapon, and all you have to do is just like hit him enough, and just take no damage.
So you could beat the game in like a few minutes if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, I can actually look up the time.
Yeah. So speedrun, gray area game or game sports. I'll be honest with you. I'm never going to take seriously calling anything to do with like video games a sport. They can call it eSports all they want. Sports to me requires like effort beyond holding controller in hand. That's just me, though.
It is weird. Like,
I mean, if you want to call them competitions, that's fine. I don't care about that. Like tournament or whatever. I mean, that's whatever. But sport, you know?
Yeah, like sport implies that you're actually competing.
Yeah.
For something like speedruns, like, yes, you are technically competing for fastest time.
Mm-hmm.
So the closest approximation you can do is like track and field, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah. So apparently the current world record for Breath of the Wild is under 28 minutes.
Oh shit.
Yeah. That's for no amiibo, any for like 100% it's like 29 hours.
Mm-hmm. See, my favorite exploit is on Mega Man 1. Press start continuously after firing Elect Bolt and to give max damage against bosses. Also, it makes Mega Man invincible because of his teleport animation.
Yeah, that goes through several Mega Man games. It's just because the way the NES handles data,
Mm-hmm.
like you're constantly going in and out of the pause screen, but that damage thing is still there.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as it's on the boss, he'll just immediately come. There's a lot of even recent games that use shit like that where if you jump, you can pause buffer, which is what that's called, and you can just continuously jump.
Mm-hmm.
Shit's weird.
That feels gross.
I mean, yeah.
I would say Mata says in the chat, esports are a bad joke that refuses to die, and I think Jameson is trying to get us back on track. He said, "Well, Waid is speedrunning his case into the ground."
I could talk for hours about esports and why it's a failure, but we should actually talk about Mark Waid ruining his own career.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it's like, where are we at? Oh, yeah. Plaintiff is going to claim the defendants. His claims are completely meritless. But the problem at the outset, which is proper to address, is that the court lacks personal jurisdiction over defendant Waid. Fifth Circuit precedent requires that each claim be analyzed separately for whatever personal jurisdiction exists. Plaintiff's tortious interference claim is based entirely on a single phone call between Waid, who was in California at the time, and a San Antonio publishing company. That is far short of necessary substantial connection with Texas to justify personal jurisdiction. Waid did not even know at the time the plaintiffs apparently lived in Texas, particularly in light of plaintiffs' efforts to create the public impression he is in New York City, as discussed below. He said he travels to New York City. That doesn't mean he lives there. You idiots. For that reason alone, Fifth Circuit precedent requires a finding of no personal jurisdiction. As for plaintiff's defamation count, he alleges multiple defamatory statements that fall into two categories: statements by Waid through social media, and B, statements at a comic convention in Houston occurring after the publisher decided against publishing plaintiff's book. Under Texas law, each alleged defamatory statement constitutes a separate claim, which in turn requires a jurisdictional analysis as to each. Personal jurisdiction inarguably does not exist to the first category. Moreover, especially since Waid did not know plaintiff residing in Texas, jurisdiction also does not apply to the second category. Ignorance does not matter. If this is their case, if their case is like he's just stupid. Oh, you ready for the factual?
Like to plead insanity?
Yeah, you ready for the factual background? The factual background now. Mark Waid has no connection to Texas. Waid is a citizen of California, lives in Santa Monica. A declaration of Mark Waid, attached to Exhibit A. He works from California as a freelance author of comic books. Waid does not maintain any agents or services or service of the process in Texas. He was served with the summons and complaint at his home in California. Waid has no interest in use of or possession of real property within Texas. Doesn't matter. He does not own any own or lease any personal property in Texas. Doesn't matter. He does not have any bank accounts in Texas. Does not matter. He does not maintain any assets in Texas. Doesn't matter. He is not required to pay any income, business, or property taxes in Texas. He's about to pay with his ass. in Texas. I'll say that much. He has not used the Texas court system as a litigant other than as a defendant in this matter. Doesn't matter. He does not regularly or solicit business in Texas, nor does he have any ongoing business relationships in Texas. Again, doesn't matter. He does not have a mailing address or telephone number in Texas. Doesn't matter. He lived in Texas in the early 1980s when he was young, but he has not lived in Texas since then. He has never had an office space in Texas. Does not matter. The alleged contact concerning Mr. Waid's connection to Texas are at most random, fortuitous, and attenuated. Plaintiff operates channel called Diversity in Comics. First name complaint. These are just like footnotes. Plaintiff alleges. Huh?
Didn't he change the name of the channel?
Yeah, now it's called Comics Matter with your boy Zach.
When was this filed?
Like the other day.
And it's been like that for a couple months, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So then that's factually inaccurate.
Mm-hmm. Plaintiff alleges Waid interfered with the book Jawbreakers Lost Souls Corner. Jawbreakers Lost Souls would be a story about 5 ex-superheroes that come out of retirement to protect a giant mutant ape from being exploited by a warlord. It is not a book involving any story about Texas or aimed only at Texas audiences. What the fuck? Is this what you're... What? Did y'all hear this? Did y'all understand it? Did y'all understand that?
I understand it. I don't understand it.
They're trying to say because the book is not set in Texas and he's not selling it only at Texas audiences, then it doesn't matter.
So.
Oh my god!
Yeah, so by that logic, right? As long, like, say I'm publishing a book and I'm in Europe, and I put explicit instructions on how to assassinate the President of the United States. I am not under jurisdiction of the United States.
Yeah.
Just because the intended audience isn't specifically those in the United States.
Yeah, Jameson. Oh, you want me to repeat it again? I'll repeat it again. Hold on. Jawbreakers Lost Soul would be a story about 5 ex-superheroes coming out of retirement to protect a giant mutant ape from being exploited by a warlord. It is not a book involving any story about Texas or aimed only at Texas audiences.
So, this screams of just somebody who feels way smarter than they actually.
It gets better, lads. Are you ready for this?
Oh no.
Plaintiff alleges he had teamed up with top-tier artists to illustrate and color the book. Those artists have been identified as John Malin, Ethan Van Sciver, and Brett Smith. I like they've been identified. They're on the book, dummy. You know?
God.
Mr. Malin's Twitter profile indicates he is in Michigan. Mr. Van Sciver's Twitter profile notes he is in New Jersey. And Mr. Smith's Twitter page identifies him being in Arizona. What does
Mark?
What?
Mark, if you're listening, the fact that you depict violence in your books, and the books go everywhere in America, and people commit acts of violence because they've seen them in your, means that technically you are under the jurisdiction of whatever happened.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Wasn't he in Texas?
He was at a convention at one point in Texas where he called, where he basically called, Zach a white supremacist. So, yeah.
So he was in Texas.
Mm-hmm. He attended a Texas convention, and somebody asked him about the obvious tortious interference he did. He was more than happy to talk about it.
So, the man on rightful Texas soil, saying things about this.
About a Texas publisher, which he, by the way, said here in Texas. Talking about talking about Antarctic, he said, a publisher here in Texas. I'm like,
and a Texas citizen. So he's trying to say the Texas courts shouldn't deal with possibly defaming a Texas citizen. So no state anywhere has any right to protect its people.
Nope.
So says Mark.
Yep. And also the fact that John Malin lives in Michigan, EVS lives in New Jersey, and Brett Smith lives in Arizona. That has some relevance to the case.
Wait, I thought Waid was for diversity.
Wait, yeah, it says earlier he was a champion for diversity and defender of women. Waid made 2 or 3 social media posts on Facebook and Twitter regarding plaintiff. These posts were not directed to Texas, but rather were posts accessible and viewable by all of his more than 5,000 Facebook friends and nearly 100,000 Twitter followers regarding where they were located. Or regardless where they were located. The more I get into it, the less the game makes sense. Plaintiff alleges Waid sent a tweet stating that he had, quote, a call into Antarctic Press, which plaintiff alleges on information and belief, triggered an onslaught by Waid's followers against the Antarctic Press with calls and threats to Antarctic Press. Waid did not instruct or tell any of his followers or friends to call Antarctic or threaten Antarctic Press. Waid alleges plaintiff alleges Waid had one phone call with the owner of Antarctic Press. Waid did have one relatively brief phone call with someone who identified himself as associated with or an owner of AP. Waid had left a message at AP and asked someone to return his call. Someone associated with AP called Waid back, and they discussed plaintiff. At the time, Waid did not know where AP was located, and Waid did not know where the person with whom he spoke lived, whether it was Texas or elsewhere. It is not until that call that Waid even learned AP had operations in Texas. Not until after that phone call. Waid also did not know where the plaintiff lived or located. Waid did not know that plaintiff resided in Texas or had any connection at all to Texas. As noted, the plaintiff's Twitter account clearly identifies that he is in New York. That does not mean anything. I could go on mine and say I live in Abu Dhabi. So that's not a defense, dude. Waid is a defender of raw men.
So theoretically, by Waid's standards, that this shouldn't be held in Texas, right? So I'm guessing he's trying to get it to move to California.
Yeah.
That's even worse for defamation cases, because typically the judge will tell you just to settle.
Yep.
And that you should just pay whoever you're defaming.
Yeah, I've seen what I was going to say. Oh well. Kind of escaped me there. Where was I? Oh yeah, plaintiff's own words and conduct directed towards the world, not just Texas, have created substantial reason why people may not do business with him.
But they already said Mark Waid made a phone call.
Yeah.
So
by the time Waid had spoken to AP, the publisher indicated it had already decided to sever ties with plaintiff. That is a lie, because it had learned more about his conduct and unfavorable reputation. The representative told Waid that after learning more about the plaintiff, AP found plaintiff's conduct indefensible. Waid did not tell or even ask AP to not publish Jawbreakers. In public tweets, AP confirmed that plaintiff's own conduct led to their decision to not publish plaintiff's book, not anything Waid did. and this is, they're trying to use their affidavit, or not affidavit, but the what do you call them? Depositions, yeah. Yeah, in deposition testimony, Joe Dunn, owner of AP with whom Waid spoke, confirmed that Waid did not cause AP to decide to publish plaintiff's book. And here's the thing. Now, you got to look at how this was worded, okay? And so, again, there were factors that led to Antarctic Press's decision that had no relation to Mark Waid, correct? Yes. And those factors were concerned that your staff and freelancers had expressed, correct? Correct. And including Mr. Myers' own conduct, correct? Correct. And those factors that led to AP's decision are factors unrelated to Mark Waid, correct? Correct. Did you make the decision for Antarctic Press, correct? Correct. And it was your decision, correct? Correct. And you made that decision voluntarily? Correct. And Mark Waid, did he do anything to prevent AP from publishing Mr. Myers' book? No. These were all, as you can see, those were all dodges.
What gets me is the those 4 little dots separating the Mr. Myers conduct and your decision. You made the decision for Arctic Press. Like, what was said in between there?
No,
was that any relevant?
That could have been just a page break.
It could have been,
yeah.
But and then Mark Waid, did he do anything to prevent AP from publishing? That's like, did Mark Waid walk up to you and tell you not to publish the book? No, but he did call in and say, like, hey, I think this guy's being shitty and you shouldn't work with him, wink wink. That's like not doing anything, but it's
literally like for example, I'll use my row of cans here. I don't know, it's like, tell me, can y'all hear this? Y'all hear that, right? Bit. Okay, so it's like oh, these are this is a nice publishing house you have. Be ashamed if something happened to it. That's pretty much what I'm gathering from this call, Yep. And this whole this was Joe Dunn. I'm gonna call him Dung because he's a piece of crap for doing this in deposition under oath because he's lying his ass off. But he's not lying in the case because you can justify what he said here and not be a lie. And Mark Waid, did he do anything to prevent AP from publishing Mr. Myers' book? No, because he can't physically do anything. I mean, Mark Waid isn't going to go and like put gum in the printing press, for example. I mean, he can't physically do anything. That's the thing. He can't. He's not. He can worm his way out and say that Waid didn't actually do anything to prevent AP from publishing, the book. But it would be said, did he suggest it? See, those are the wrong questions they ask. Did he suggest you not do business? Then you would have probably called him in a lie under oath, like a real lie under oath. Example B, Ryan Pierce, done expo, blah, 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 emphasis added. After AP initially announced it would be published Jawbreakers, AP then learned plaintiff had revealed the identities of stores that had decided against carrying the books because of plaintiff's well-earned negative reputation for harassment and hateful rhetoric. He identified the stores, but he did not identify personal information.
I mean, it's not you can't dox a public location. Like,
listen, guys, I'm gonna tell you where the Washington Monument is.
Like, oh no.
Hey, Mike. I know the address of the White House.
1800 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
We're gonna get flagged for that.
Oh, no.
They just doxed the President of the United States. After AP initially announced it would publish Jawbreakers, they're carrying book, plaintiff's well deserved. AP's social media director reported to AP staff that plaintiff had promised not to, quote, rat out these retailers. and Mr. Dunn expressed hope that the plaintiff would respond in the proper way. But plaintiff did not respond in any way that could be called proper. Well, that's an opinion. That's not a fact, right? Instead, he publicly ratted out the stores by tweeting about a private Facebook chat among the retailers, and even openly encouraged his Twitter followers to research and reveal the identities of store employees. All right, let's see what he actually said. I did the research on about 4 or 5 of them, but yeah, if someone could go through those screenshots from that retailer Facebook group and make a list of the people, the stores they work out, and the cities, that would be great.
I mean,
that doesn't indicate that he wants them to like get the employees' personal information or any shit like that.
Yeah, that's just not a call to action. Or that is a bit of a call to action, but that's like, can someone give me the information of the stores?
Yeah, that are doing this stuff. Yeah.
That's not like I'm upset and I want you guys to boycott these stores. It's like, maybe he could call them up and be like, hey, this is a persona. I still want you to sell the book. I think it'll do well for you, so on and so forth.
Yeah. Mr. Dunn ultimately became aware of this spiteful effort. That's an opinion. As plaintiff had requested, one of his followers publicly listed the names of store employees and related phone numbers.
One thing I don't fucking understand is how certain people don't seem to understand that everyone has their own volition. Everyone has free will. Yep. I don't have to do things.
Nope.
I choose to do them.
Yep.
Just like I am not responsible for people who do things based on what I say.
Yeah. It's like, for example, if Raptro is on Twitter, right, and Raptro is saying something, and and you're wilding out about whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is not related to Graded Point 5.
No.
You being on this show and saying something then, that is related to Graded Point 5 because then you're on the show.
Yeah.
That's different.
The difference is Twitter is my own platform and this is a platform given to me by some.
Right. And then ultimately I'm responsible for that platform. Yeah. And
I think we can actually relate that back to comics. It's that X-Men artist who got fired last year for putting the secret anti-Jewish messages in the book.
Yeah.
That was basically an abuse of the platform and more of a call to action than anything else.
And they were summarily removed from said platform.
Yes.
Yeah. Because that was not their own individual work. That was not it was not something that they owned and that they used for whatever reason. That was somebody else's IP. That was something they were hired to work on, and they wrecked it. To go back, kind of like you were talking about when you mentioned the Lamborghini earlier. That would be like if you went and if you were working for a company and the company had a company Lamborghini and you took the company Lamborghini out and then you wrecked it. Well, they're going to fire you because you destroyed, company property, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just how that works. And unless it was an accident. But even then, if it was an accident, they'd probably still fire you. So why'd you take the company Lamborghini out, right? By the way, if there is a company out there that's a company Lamborghini, I want to work for them. Because I think
honestly, I probably wouldn't want to because if they're using a company Lamborghini, that means they're misspending money everywhere. For fuck's sakes, and they're going to go out of business.
Or they could, Mike. They could be just so rich that it doesn't matter. It's two ways to look at that. It's either wildly successful or they're trying to pretend that they're wildly successful.
Or as I realized a third possibility is that they own a car rental company.
That is an excellent point. Look at Xavier. He's chilling in the chat right now. That's how the mafia works. Are you talking in the chat now?
Yeah, I just saw somebody's oh, that's how the mob works, and I was that's how the mafia works, that fucking mobile game.
Yeah.
as they run.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I really wish I could just fucking post some of those right now.
Some of those are great. Those fucking
Oh
things.
god.
They have nothing to do with the game whatsoever.
Oh, yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
if you could combine all of those ads and actually make a game from that, that would be both the most annoying game to play, but fun at the same time. It'd be like an advanced version of those that fish in a lake game.
Yeah. I haven't seen too many of those recently, but the ones I have seen are from like AFK Arena, where it's basically the exact same shit, but just with like 2 seconds of like royalty-free music loop for a 10-second.
Yeah.
Just,
And you're just like, oh my god, this is terrible. You know, that loop of music.
Oh, yeah.
Please stop. Spiteful effort. Not content with this, on the morning of May 11, 2018, plaintiff also retweeted an apparent threat of violence against those that praised his incel army. All this occurred before Dunn even spoke to Waid. But now remember, I want to point out, even by their own testimonies, they were going to publish the book until right after the Waid call.
That's probably where they fucked themselves. Right there.
If they'd have done it beforehand, then there's nothing that could have been done to Waid, right? But they specifically said they did not decide to not publish the book until after the Waid call. After announcing his decision to publish Drawbreakers, AP also came to learn about some of the shocking comments plaintiff made about other creators. Here we go. Plaintiff had among other things, AP's editor-in-chief, or EIC, reported to Mr. Dunn that he had learned of plaintiff had called his Star Wars editor a quote cum dumpster. And they censored out cum, by the way.
Nice.
This was in addition to other horrific statements made by the plaintiff made in a YouTube video. That's an opinion.
Wait.
Huh?
So, calling somebody a cum dumpster is like that's like base level insult. Oh, hey, it's mean words for you're a giant slut.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Now listen to this. Horrific statements plaintiff made in a YouTube video, including defaming Waid and others as pedophiles. Plaintiff never revealed his YouTube video to AP, but AP learned of all of this before Dunn spoke with Waid.
Wait, Waid didn't deny that he's a pedophile on a legal document.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Yeah.
He just said he was defamed publicly as a pedophile.
Oh my God, Mike! They put a definition of what incels here are.
Oh, here we go!
Incels are known for promoting hate speech against women.
That's oh no. Wait, they used a New York Times article to do that.
Yep.
So it's not even like a fucking proper legal definition of the word, or
Mike,
even a dictionary definition.
Yeah, what it would be? What is the word? What is incel short for, folks?
Involuntarily celibate.
Yeah, that just means he ain't getting laid.
And he's regretting it.
Yeah, and he doesn't like it, and he kind of bitches about it. That's not
he's
like
a very sad boy.
That's not hate speech against women. That's just he's pent up. He needs to jerk off. That's it.
Well, what I don't understand is like why did they go with incels are known for promoting hate speech against women and not for actually like doing hate speech against women? It's just they promote it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Mark Waid promotes comic books with violence in them.
Yeah.
So Mark Waid promotes violence.
Yeah. Mark Waid he wrote a book about what was it? Mark Waid wrote a book where a dude where they dropped a atomic warhead on a bunch of innocent people. So Mark Waid obviously is likes to drop nuclear warheads on innocent people. I mean. Wait, that is Mark Waid. He is the incel.
I mean, I don't doubt it. Does Mark Waid have a wife? I don't.
No, he does not. He has a bunch of girlfriends. Like I know one particular girl. Like I think her name was Devin Grayson. Apparently, he ruined. She was a comic book writer as well, and he dated her for a while, and then apparently ruined her career.
Yeah, I'm fucking looking. Shannon Pierce Outlaw.
Yeah, I believe that's. I think that was the one.
Because he's been accused of like abuse and everything. And...
Yeah, that particular one. I think that's the one where he had the hissy fit in the comic book shop. Yeah. Who that there?
That would
Yo.
be...
Hello.
I'm sorry, I jumped in to try and say this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Waid and Vagina, the two shall never meet. So he must protect it from the shadow. Mark Waid is the vat.
I wonder if we can find out if like Mark Waid is secretly into being financially dominated and hasn't actually had sex in his life.
Yeah, girl, you spend my money so good.
Well, you just determine whether or not he's what's the word? A gambler, because gamblers apparently they really love findoms because it's like a punishment for themselves.
Yeah.
Like, oh god, why am I like this?
Because you need to find Jesus.
Yep.
Oh well, I'm gonna give $500 to my favorite titty bitch, and she's not gonna give me anything. Like they have a fetish for being bamboozled.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Xavier, since you're here, because I found this after you had already left earlier when you popped in during your break, and I want everybody to hear your reaction. I finally got an answer.
Oh,
Yeah.
hold on. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see.
I think, guys, I think Xavier had a stroke.
What's the answer?
Hey, I found it.
Well, thank God for that.
Fuck.
It's
It's killing his internet.
It's so bad his 4G is taking a shit.
Standing on the edge of outer prophets once said.
Mm-hmm. Mark Waid is the Black Rider fired to replace her with his girlfriend. No, Mark. No, Mark Waid's not black. He's a white man. Very, 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 very white.
Oh, that means he's racist, right?
I mean, you heard what happened today, didn't you? Oh, yesterday, right?
Okay.
He went on a thing because I think it was it Kwanzaa put out a new book. Was it Kwanzaa or somebody else? It doesn't matter. They put out a book and like somebody took the one of the panels and edited it to make it look like the woman was a racist, instead of whatever. And Mark Waid, being Mark Waid, because remember, defender of women and champion of diversity, Mark Waid, right? Went on a screed about how these white supremacists are changing these people's, things to make us look bad and blah, blah, blah. I can't believe these people would do that. Went on this whole entire screed. And then we find out that the person who edited the panel was just some guy.
Oh.
He
starts getting emails again from Mark Waid. Fix this.
Fix this now. Fix this now, Ethan. What do you want me to do about it?
Yeah.
If Mark Waid had an actor name, it would be Spurgery Scott. I went deep for that reference. Give it to me.
God damn.
Oh, okay. Mark Waid replaced a black rider with his girlfriend. That's what the thing says. So yeah.
Well, clearly Mark Wade's inability to get laid is a bigger form of oppression than anything the black.
Mm-hmm. Now, because we're kind of short on time, and I don't want to go too much over. Do y'all want to hear Mark Wade's submission to the court?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. I figure we'll just skip over because we already kind of know where that's going. I, Mark Waid, upon oath, hereby declare. I do declare. My name is Mark Waid. I am over 18 years old, of sound mind. That is an opinion.
That's hearsay.
Yeah, that's definitely hearsay. And I am capable of making this declaration.
That's a conclusion.
I have personal knowledge of the facts set forth herein, and if called to testify, I could and would would do so competently under oath.
He wrote this himself, didn't he?
I'm wondering. The statement herein are within my personal knowledge and are true and correct.
Vis-a-vis, ergo, accordingly.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's let's read through this. I am the defendant in this case. Okay, that is true. I write comic books and have been in comic book industry for more than 35 years. Okay. I have authored stories for DC Comics and Marvel, the two major comic book companies, including stories featuring such superheroes as Captain America, Superman, Daredevil, and Wonder Woman. I live in Santa Monica, California. I have lived in California for more than 2 years. I work from California.
I have a dog. His Spot. He likes to play outside. I like to play outside with dog Spot.
I work from California as a freelance author of comic books. I do not maintain any agents for services of process in the state of Texas. I was personally served with the summons and complaint for this lawsuit filed by plaintiff Richard Meyer while I was at my home in California. Okay.
Yeah, that's how being a summons works,
Yeah.
dumbass.
Yeah. I have no interest in, use of, or possession of real property in Texas. Doesn't matter. I do not own or lease any personal property in Texas. Doesn't matter. I do not have any bank accounts in Texas. Doesn't matter. I do not maintain any assets in Texas. Doesn't matter. I am not required to pay any income, business, or property taxes in Texas. Well, as soon as
Richard Meyer's book doesn't take place in Texas.
Yeah. As soon as Richard owns your ass, you're going to be paying taxes in Texas. I have not used the Texas court system as a litigant other than being named as defendant in this matter. I do not regularly do or solicit business in Texas, nor do I have any ongoing business relationships in Texas. Well, except for that convention you went to.
Yeah.
I lived in Texas in the early 1980s when I was young. I was born in 1962. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Are we back to a kid's book?
Wait, just the entire I don't solicit business in Texas.
Yeah.
Do you write comic books that are published by companies that put them out in Texas?
Yeah.
Are you paid based on the amount of books sold? Is a percentage of books sold coming from Texas?
Yeah.
You are soliciting business from Texas.
All this tells me is that he still doesn't understand why he...
Is it wrong that his case is better than his comics? That's pretty good.
Yeah, it is wrong.
It's wrong, but it's still funny.
He still doesn't understand why he's in trouble or why...
He has no clue. I don't know what I did wrong.
I was just over here defending the Whammon.
Yep.
From the white supremacist. From the white supremacists with, multiracial children.
Yeah, it's not like I've ruined more lives of black people than some of the white supremacists have. I'm going through some of these fucking articles about Mark Waid abusing his girlfriends. Holy shit, he's a shit.
He's a shitbag, right?
Yeah, just Jesus Christ! How do you just cut somebody out of a fucking job
Yep.
and replace them with like your fucking life partner?
Because he thought he was gonna get some of that puss, and then it didn't happen.
Yep. Oh right, I'm an incel. Damn it.
I
Mark
mean, look
Waid,
how
more
hot
like
she
Mark
is,
got
right?
played.
Remember, no matter how hot your girlfriend is, Mark Waid,
Oh, for
you're
fuck's
still Mark Waid. She can do better than you.
That's not how daily affirmations work. But I like this whole, I lived in Texas in the early 80s when I was young. I was born in 1962. You were in your 20s! The court document did not indicate that. They made it like he was like a baby, right?
Yeah.
Like I was living in Texas against my will because I would never live in Texas. Fuck Texas. But here he's literally, I mean, early 80s. That's from 81 to 85, right?
I was in Texas when I was little. I had a pet turtle. His name was Bob.
Bob the turtle.
Anyway, I should not be sued. Okay, thanks, bye.
Oh, and here we go. Before I was working professional, before I was a working professional in the comic industry. But I do not live in Texas. Did not live in Texas since then. I do not have a mailing address or telephone number in Texas. I have made infrequent visits to Texas, including for brief visits to attend book signings and conventions. Well, that does mean you've done business in Texas, then, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Your business is comic books.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like this is to annoy.
This is an 85-page document.
It's really kind of sad that this doesn't even have the fun thing where it's like, go away, Nick, and secret code.
Right. This is just
This is just Mark Waid. Like, I don't have text bubbles to fill.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna fucking. This is spam. This is a spam bot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
This isn't a human.
I fed 10,000 pages of fucking legal documents into a bot. This is what it out.
I have never had office space in Texas. I do not recall any colleagues with whom I worked with regularly in Texas. At the time of the alleged event in this case, including 2017 and 2018, I had no connection to Texas. The comic industry is not centered in Texas. Indeed, there is nothing unique regarding Texas in relation to the comic book industry.
Oh no.
Okay, guys.
Dig that hole.
Okay, you know what the last thing I want to do in front of a Texas judge?
Is besmirch Texas?
Yeah. And then he goes on to say, the comic book industry is spread across the world. If it is centered anywhere, it would be in California and or New York.
Ooh.
You know what? Hey, you know what? Hey, you know what else Texans hate? California and New York.
I'm getting flashbacks to the Gawker trial. When they were up on stage and they were just being assholes.
Yeah.
About their testimony.
Mm-hmm.
And sitting there going that, they'd put a sex tape up a body who was like 5. If they thought it was relevant.
Yeah.
That's what that reminds me.
Yeah.
This guy is digging a hole,
mm-hmm.
and he's too stupid to realize. That's how I know he can't afford to put shit posts in his legal filings. He's writing this himself.
Yeah.
He's out of money.
In 2017, I became aware of a YouTube channel called Diversity in Comics, and I came to learn it is operated by Plaintiff. I have seen some of the videos posted by Plaintiff on that channel, and it is clear that the channel was not specifically aimed at Texas, but rather it is a platform whereby Plaintiff directs his complaints about diversity in the worldwide comic industry, generally at audiences wherever they are located. Here is a link to the DNC channel, and he links it. It appears that Plaintiff has changed the name of his channel since he filed this lawsuit, but this is the link that was associated with what he called Diversity in Comics. I also became aware the Plaintiff operates an active Twitter profile.
My God, I'm the monster.
The Plaintiff experience. Okay. Attached.
Mark Waid said he watched some of Diversity in Comics videos.
Yeah.
Why didn't he share a screenshot of what his channel looks
Yeah.
Is Mark Waid subscribed to Diversity in Comics?
Mark Waid is subscribed to Diversity in Comics. Probably. Attached as Exhibit 1 is a true and correct copy of what, based on my knowledge and experience in the comic industry, is and what has been publicly presented to be the plaintiff's Twitter profile. The profile states, I run the Diversity in Comics YouTube channel. He forgot the cough. And indicates almost 20,000 followers. The profile references New York, New York. It is not clear that this Twitter account is still active, but Exhibit 1 represents the profile that I recognize as having been the plaintiff's Twitter profile during 2017 and 2018, and as the time he had filed his lawsuit. Well,
Does he follow?
So what?
Does he follow him on Twitter too?
That would be hilarious. It's like, I'm going to follow you.
Because Mark Waid right now seems like he's not intelligent enough to set up Google alert for his...
Yeah.
Like, he's actually going there and looking every day. Did you talk about me? Did you talk about me?
While I became generally aware of the plaintiff's existence and role with regard to DNC, I did not know that he apparently lived in Texas. Whenever I made statements, including any social media posts or tweets regarding plaintiff, I did not know he was in Texas or had any connection with Texas. I did not know where plaintiff was located or where he lived. I did not give thought to where or he lived or was located. I only learned plaintiff apparently lived in Texas when I received a copy of this lawsuit. I have made posts and tweets from my personal Facebook and Twitter pages accounts on Facebook during 2017-2018. I had approximately 5,000 friends/followers and nearly 100,000 followers on Twitter.
I had a man, for crying out loud, I had a man's dog shot in another state. I don't know which state. I didn't know that he lived in that state, but it's not my fault because I don't live in that state.
Yep.
I, Ian Miles Chong, accidentally had another man's dog flashbanged in another...
Whenever I would post on Facebook or Twitter, those posts or tweets would show up in the feed of my followers/friends, wherever they may have been located. As I recall, 2 or 3 tweets...
But they're definitely not in Texas.
I recall a total of 2 or 3 tweets and Facebook posts from me regarding plaintiff. I believe there's more than that. And when I made those tweets and posts regarding plaintiff, I did not know where plaintiff lived or was located or whatever, or whether he had any connection with Texas. And I did not make the post while I was in Texas. And I would have been, and they would have been accessible by all of my followers as friends, not just those in Texas. This post is only going out to to the people who follow me in Texas.
Wow.
Yeah. At some point in time, I became aware plaintiff sought to publish a book called Jawbreakers Lost Souls. That book, as I understand it, was not about Texas.
There it is! Your Honor, his book isn't even about Texas. The defense rests.
Or at least not marketed as aimed at Texas, but rather the story involved a mutant ape. According to press reports, I understood that plaintiff would work with John Malin, Ethan Van Sciver, and Brett Smith on the book. Attached Exhibit 2, an article from Bleeding Cool that I downloaded after this lawsuit while discussing the book.
Your Honor, none of those men live in Texas, probably.
He downloaded a webpage.
Mark, what if the giant ape they're protecting is a metaphor
for
Texas gun laws?
Yeah.
And you're just too thick to understand the metaphor. It just went over your bald head, buddy.
Mark Waid can stalk on Twitter, but can't use a phone book to know 210 is a San Antonio idiot. Waid paid. Oh, I don't know. I ain't gonna talk that. Nope. We talked about that too much the other night.
Just as a random aside, depending on the area code, that shows how quick the state was to get on their feet to get their area code. Because the lower the number,
the better.
The easier it was. The lower, the better, because of the radial dial phones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that means Texas was kind of early on in the. Yep. See, remember? Okay, so he's downloading web pages now. Anybody believe that Mark Waid knows how to download a web page? Does anybody believe that?
You
No,
wouldn't
I can't.
You wouldn't download a web page. You download a movie.
From my work in and based on my knowledge of the industry, I was able to identify the Twitter profiles from Malin, Van Sciver, and Smith, which indicate none are in Texas. Did you dox John Malin, Ethan Van Sciver, and Brett Smith? Is that what I'm getting here?
Isn't Mark Waid admitting that he downloaded a web technically admission of piracy?
True and correct copies of the profiles as they existed on November 2018 are attached to Exhibit 3. Mr. Malin profile is he indicates he lives in Michigan, New Jersey, Arizona, blah, blah, blah. Oh, God. Oh, no, guys. Okay. Are you ready for Mark Waid superhero? Are you ready?
Do it.
I support diversity in comic books. I believe that the roles of women, minorities, and non-straight people make our industry better. Therefore, I develop concerns about plaintiffs' apparent views and activities relentlessly targeting such people. I believe that plaintiff has led a campaign that has resulted in harassment of many good people within the industry, particularly women and LGBTQ plus community. I began to observe plaintiff's YouTube channel and Twitter activity, and I was frankly shocked at his views and insensitivity.
Oh my God!
For example, to the declaration as Exhibit 4 are true and correct copies of the tweets of plaintiff's Twitter account downloaded from Twitter. Wait a minute. From plaintiff's Twitter account downloaded from Twitter, which exemplify why I became outspoken against him.
You idiot! You just admitted you did it. Just told the judge. You did it!
Plaintiff's offensive comments are not limited to Twitter. For example, I became aware in November of 2017 YouTube rant he falsely and disgustingly referred to some professionals, including myself, as pedophiles. And he suggested that certain women, some directly named in his rant, had gained roles excessively because of sexual conduct. Plaintiff's own words.
Well, Mark, we know the one, Mark Waid.
Yeah.
You know her.
Yep. Plaintiff's own words and conduct aimed at the comic industry are what caused my concerns regarding plaintiff, not any activity aimed at or involving the state of Texas. Oh, here's where he said he talked to Antarctic Press. On May 11, 2018, I had a phone call with someone I understood to be the owner of Antarctic Press. I left a message to Antarctic Press and asked them someone to return my call. I did not know that Antarctic Press was located or had operations in Texas. I obtained a phone number for them through industry contacts. So that's admitting to doxing. I did not think about where it was located when I called. After my message, someone identified himself as associate with Antarctic Press called me back, and we discussed the plaintiff. I did not know where the person was located when he called back, whether in Texas or somewhere else. During this call, I also did not know where plaintiff lived or was located, or that he had any connections to Texas. At the time of my initial call to AP and a call back to me from someone who identified himself as being with AP, I still had no knowledge of the Antarctic Press had any operations and connections with Texas. I did not know.
I thought they lived in outer space.
I thought they lived on in a void. If you live in a place that is not really a location or a time or space, then how can I defame you?
Your Honor, I'd like to remind scientists haven't proven tech.
Yeah. I only say yeah because that kind of broke up. I did not know Antarctic Press or its owner or owners well, but I have run into them on. I had run into one of its owners at an industry functions before. Was that in Texas, Mark? The person who called me back identified himself as the brother of the owner who I had previously met, and he had recently taken over Antarctic Press. From my limited interactions with the owner who I had met, I had a favorable impression of Antarctic Press and respect its reputation. None of those limited interactions involved any statements or any other indication to me that realized that Antarctic Press was in Texas. By the time they there was already an independent and sizable wave of social media backlash for Arctic Press, possibly publishing plaintiff's book, his existing reputation as someone of greater intolerance. The only reason I wish to speak with Arctic Press was to investigate what it knew about plaintiff, because I perceive that Arctic Press may not have known much about him. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. As Booker T would say, wait a minute. The only reason I wish to speak to Anarch Press was to investigate what it knew about plaintiff, because I perceive that Anarch Press may not have known much about them. Tortious interference. Thank you, Mark Waid. You just fucked yourself. You just fucked yourself, Mark.
Your Honor, I was just telling on him. That's not a crime. Also, Your Honor, and this is what I said before, I'd like to remind the court that scientists have yet to prove the existence of Texas, so clearly I'm the victim.
Also, Your Honor, don't mess with Texas. It's just a recycling slogan. You do realize that, right?
At the time, and then the judge puts his cowboy hat on and pulls out a bull rope.
We're gonna get out some of the dust off the cowboy laws to deal with you, son.
Mm-hmm. Hold up, wait a minute, put some stupid in it.
Listen here, boy. We're gonna give you the D&C. What exactly is that, sir? We're gonna draw and quarter you.
No, for legal reasons, that's a joke.
For legal reasons, that's a joke.
But C's not.
Yes.
But quarter is not spelled with a C. Well, this is Texas. They can spell it.
You're in Texas, boy.
We spell quarter with a C, boy.
We spell it how I deem it. We spell it.
Later that day, Mark Waid is tied to a hitching post. Now, I don't know where they got a hitching post in the middle of the city, but they found one.
Why?
And just every now and again, people just get to take a swing at him.
Why? Guys, why? I'm perplexed. Why?
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft, for legal reasons, this is a joke.
Why? Guys, why would you? Why?
Why would you ruin your own case?
Yeah,
Because
why would
you're
you?
Full of yourself.
Why would you make this statement?
Because if your head's so far up,
Your Honor, I moved to strike!
He's your client.
your
I
client.
know.
he's ruining my case.
Oh God! Can you imagine his own lawyer is trying to strike his testimony from the record?
Oh God! This is the best day ever.
How do you do that? What lawyer would let him do this?
Mark Zaid, Super Warrior, the lawyer extraordinaire.
Super warrior lawyer. Like, this dumbass has hung himself in court. Yep.
Mark Zaid, I wrote this letter to the judge. Do you think I should submit it? Yeah, that's fine. Go away.
I can't believe. Oh my God. I know Ricada read this last night. Did he catch this? Please tell me Nick Ricada caught this. Because I missed it last night. Holy shit.
I can't believe Mark Waid committed suicide, you guys.
What a shame. I'm sorry, what a sham.
In Minecraft. In Minecraft.
In Minecraft.
Yeah.
He sure jumped off that cliff in Minecraft.
Yeah. I mean, Mark Waid was playing Call of Duty, and he just, jumped into the lake for some reason. I don't get, what he was doing. Yeah.
Sonic can't swim, Mark Waid. You should know this.
Oh! Now he explains the call.
Oh God.
During the one call between myself and Antarctic Press, as confirmed by Antarctic Press itself, I did not threaten Antarctic Press regarding whether to enter the business with plaintiff. That's not what anybody alleged.
I just thought I'd tell them in their best interest to do business with someone else.
During the call, in fact, the speaker indicated Anarch Express had already decided to sever ties with plaintiff because it had learned more about his conduct and reputation. Nothing I said served as impetus for Anarch Press's decision. During my call, it became clear that Anarch Press had recently already become aware of some of the plaintiff's hateful words and conduct in this, and this had caused the publisher substantial concern. The person I spoke to mentioned that he was not on social media and therefore lacked specific knowledge of the plaintiff's conduct. But he said,
So I told him.
But he said he had been strongly educated by his staff and other freelancers. He noted that, based on what he had learned before I even spoke to him, quote, "What I've learned of Meyer's behavior is indefensible."
Why would you have to defend another person?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not your job, dude.
Oh, man. But I did not tell or even ask Antarctic Press to not publish Jawbreaker's Lost Souls. I believe that
Wait.
Press...
Read that one more time.
I did not tell or even ask Antarctic Press to not publish Jawbreaker's Lost Souls.
Is that a double negative?
No.
Or am I hearing that wrong?
No. I did not tell or even ask.
Okay, I heard that wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. Lost Souls, okay. I believe and believed that Antarctic Press has a right to publish Jawbreakers, just as I and others have a right to debate and disagree with the views that are like those espoused by plaintiff. Yeah, but you know what you don't do in that situation? You don't call their fucking publisher.
Excuse me, sir. Perhaps you're not educated on this Meyer person that you're in business with. I have some things that you should know, and whatever happens after that is on you.
Yep. Okay, here we go. In public tweets, Antarctic Press stated, "Facts. Mark Waid put in a call to our office. Staff took a message and told Mr. Waid, our publisher, would be informed. Nobody at AP felt threatened in any way by Mr. Wade's call. We have not been bullied into a decision by any comics pro." Mark Waid did not bully anyone at our company, though he did call and express concern, shed more light on the situation, and other factors that came into play that do not involve any staff or freelancers at any other company that led to our decision.
Yeah, but
though he did call and express concern. That's all. That's it. That's all. That's it. Tortious interference. Done.
he informed us of things we didn't know about the situation.
Mm-hmm. Mark shed more light on the situation, and other factors came into play. He shed more light. Though he called and expressed concern, shed more light on the situation. Tortious interference with a contract.
Oh God!
You do not have to express that you want him fired, or that you want him, his book pulled off the shelf, or that you don't want him to publish the book. Just the fact that you called them and expressed the concern with his contract is tortious interference. You mongoloids.
Well, I bet he's taking that victory lap, though.
Oh, he just like, remember a couple months ago, he said, like, this case is almost over. We've entered a motion to dismiss, and the judge says, like, no, we're going to go ahead. God knows.
But, Your Honor, that's not fair. Look, I have proof. Not in Texas.
See what the chat's saying. Jesus. Okay, let's see. Oh, emphasis added. The tweets are attached as Exhibit 5. Blah, blah, blah. Downloaded. He downloaded those tweets, apparently. He downloaded it from Twitter. Guys, he's downloading websites and tweets again, man. Based on my knowledge of the industry and information I gleaned after my call with Antarctic Press, I learned that these tweets came from Antarctic Press's Twitter account. Well, it said Antarctic Press on there, moron. And in other public tweets, true and correct copies, which I downloaded, blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, some of our staff and freelancers were uncomfortable sharing a platform with anyone who makes disparaging remarks about anyone in this community. We had to cut ties. We wish Richard all the best. Some of our staff was uncomfortable once more light was shed on the creator. We had to make a choice we could live with. We have other creators who are right and left who have not made personal attacks. They are creators we decided to work with. I'm trying to I'm trying to blow through this real quick. These public statements are consistent with my call with them. I did not threaten Arctic Press, and I never demanded or asked it not to publish his book. I never told or asked any of the followers, like friends or anyone else, to contact Antarctic Press. Therefore, I certainly did not tell anyone to threaten or harass Antarctic Press. You called Antarctic Press and you expressed concern about somebody that they were under contract with.
You called and shed light on things they were not aware of. Mm-hmm. Then they made a post about how, based on some things that have recently been shed on for us.
Mm-hmm. I understand that Mr. Meyer got a hold of a private social media chat among representatives. Oh, God. This is shit we've already gone over.
Yeah.
I'm and like in a fucking this quote tweet that they're showing, the guy says, "Don't carry jawbreakers, say hi to leg breakers." You know, a joke, right? And Zach tweeted, in quotes, "To me, my incel army." After Antarctic Press, I'm just skipping over that part because we already know what happened there. After Antarctic Press announced that it would not publish plaintiff's book, I received many targeted, hateful messages, even though Antarctic Press made the decision because of plaintiff's own conduct and nothing I said or did. During that brouhaha, at some point I learned that Antarctic Press had a presence in Texas. While I do not know or remember exactly what when I learned this, it was only after my phone discussion with Antarctic Press had I learned by May 26, 2018, when I participated in a comic convention in Texas. During that convention, an audience member asked me a question on plaintiff's book came up. At the time, I still did not know the plaintiffs resided in Texas. I also note that the comic convention was like this 2018 Houston convention were marketed nationally and internationally, and the attendees came from all over the world. Thus, while the convention was in Houston, the audience which I spoke to would have been included very many attendees from outside Texas. Plaintiff's campaign against diversity is not aimed at Texas. That has nothing to do with this, Mark.
I'm not gonna lie. Uh-huh. The judge was probably would have been annoyed with all his fucking this has nothing to do with Texas bullshit after Texas decided otherwise.
Yeah.
The fact that he's annoyed now, by the time he gets to the fucking admission of guilt, Mark Waid's done. But the fact that he's continuing on this fucking song and dance.
Yep.
I came and I defamed him in Texas, but I didn't defame him to Texans. That doesn't count, Your Honor. It's in the rules.
Okay, guys.
I made up.
You want to hear his sources?
Go for it.
Bleeding Cool, Daily Beast, Washington Post, The Daily Dot, and CBR.
None of those are reputable.
Are any of them from Texas? Because I have a feeling that Mark is going to tell us.
Hold on. Whoa. Oh, Mark, you dummy. You absolute idiot. Oh, my fucking God. Lay
it on me while I pour the vodka.
After I received plaintiff's lawsuit, I learned that plaintiff had claimed that he had raised hundreds of thousands of dollars off his publicity-seeking baseless allegations against me. For instance, attached, Exhibit 12, the true copy of a tweet that I saw download and had plaintiff's lawsuit. I also understand that plaintiff has raised more than $100,000 for the pursuit of this lawsuit. All this indicates to me is that Antarctic Press' decision not to publish Mr. Meyer's books was actually a financial boon to him. I declare under penalty of perjury that foregoing is true and correct. Mark, who started the GoFundMe first? Who had the first GoFundMe?
Oh no.
Who put out the GoFundMe? Mark. Let's look at Exhibit 12. I'm gonna jot down to Exhibit 12. I want to see what he's referring to because I want to find it interesting.
My God.
Give me just a second.
Mark Waid is the fucking gift that keeps on giving.
Mm-hmm. If we ever get a join button on our channel, You know, one of the smileys is going to be Mark Wade's face. I'm just saying.
Halfway between Mark Waid and Matt Munn.
It should be Mark Waid with like a hobo hat. Like if there's a hat that a hobo would wear, it's just synonymous. So that's a hobo. Should be
one of those Pokemon hats.
All right. Yeah. Here's where okay, check this out. This is on 5/13/2018. What are you people doing to poor Mark Waid? $253,189? Seriously? He said you couldn't read Jawbreaker's Lost Souls. He works for Marvel. You have to listen to him. That's his exhibit.
It's a terrible exhibit.
Yeah.
Man. I can't wait for like in the next month, probably, when everyone realizes how bad Mark Waid fucked up, so they don't have to pretend to like him anymore because he's not coming back.
Yeah. Yeah. He fucked up.
He's just gonna move him to like a character.
He's trying to conflate like the campaign with his GoFundMe. Because listen to this. I mean, look at the wording here. After I received plaintiff's lawsuit, I learned that plaintiff had claimed that he has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars off his publicity-seeking baseless allegations against me. For instance, attached to Exhibit 12 is a true and correct copy of a tweet that I saw and downloaded and after I had been served with a copy of the plaintiff's lawsuit. I also understand that plaintiff had raised more than $100,000 for pursuit of this lawsuit. All this indicates to me the Antarctic Press decision to not publish Meyer's book was actually a financial boon to him. All right, hold on. Mark Waid, GoFundMe.
It's been a long time since we checked in on this.
October 25th, 2018. By Mark Waid. I want to add. By Mark Waid.
Dogs want to eat you.
It's been a year now. Not much has changed. I keep thinking about Mark Waid. I keep refreshing the page. A little bit of Hanson for you.
Please, never again.
Yeah, never again.
For the love of Christ, never again.
This is why I can't be in a boy band. I just don't have the voice for it.
Okay, so according to his thing, he said, when did the day he say it? No, he didn't put a date on it. He just said he learned he more than $100,000, right? Mark Waid started his GoFundMe on October 25th, 2018, right? For $81,000. Ethan Van Sciver started a GoFundMe on the 28th of October for Richard Meyer. Mark.
Unless
Booby. Baby.
Is he saying that, like, the Jawbreakers?
I think he's trying to conflate Jawbreakers with
the lawsuit one.
Yeah.
But Jawbreakers was just, like, to get the book funded.
Yeah.
So he's conflating the two of them.
Yep.
And he's just, that's a lie by omission.
Mm-hmm. But also he's, like, pretending like he didn't know anything about it until after the lawsuit. Which would be a bullshit because he started his GoFundMe before Ethan started Richard's GoFundMe. And I want to say, like I said, he did this in his own name. Nobody's raising this for Mark.
Yeah.
And he tagged it as other. And my question is this going into an IOLTA account? Or was this going into Mark Waid's pocket?
Oh, for Mark Waid, I imagine it, like, he didn't think it through and it going to Mark Waid, which means Mark Waid is getting financial benefit for because, like, the one that Ethan did for Meyer.
Yeah, he had to get it set up so it would go.
Yeah. Into an IOLTA.
Yeah.
But this is like Mark Waid helping Mark Waid promoting markwaid.com.
Kind of like when Mars Girl did her GoFundMe for, quote, to do something legally about Yellow Flash and Then she and immediately goes and buys back all the anime she had pawned before.
Yep.
Just so happens that I've got, in a total coincidental move, I went and bought some anime today.
I recently came into some money.
Suckers.
I want to point out that I can tell this is like an older picture of Zach, and he's always had a bad haircut.
I love the visible confusion, like he doesn't understand what a camera.
He seems like he's always like that, doesn't it? Like, oh, I don't know what's going on here. Yeah. His Lawler clone.
You're never too young to have a Vietnam flashback.
Yeah. But yeah, she should have bought cat food. Talking about Mars Girl. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how. I mean, obviously the biggest clown show in Texas legal system right now is, the Vic case. But Waid is doing his damn. I mean, I think Waid was upset that he's being upstaged by, Monica and Ron. Do you think? Do you think he went to his lawyers like, God, because we need to file something that is just or even more stupid than this? I mean, if you want to, it's your money.
Listen, if I was ever upstaged by a known cuck, I would kill myself in Minecraft. Ever. This publicly, I would shoot a bow and arrow directly into the sky and wait for it to come down.
In Minecraft.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
That's dedication.
Yeah. Did you see that? Anybody see that tweet? Is like, or that news article where it was a woman who said like, "I came home to find my husband sleeping with my boyfriend."
Mm-hmm.
That's dedication.
Yeah. And Yellow Flash tweeted it, and he said, "Monica, is that you?" All of a sudden, Monica became a cut queen.
I mean, what better way to get revenge on a person cheating on you by cheating on them with the one that you're cheating with?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I know.
Tyrone, what happened, man? What happened? Motherfucker drugged me.
They put roofies in the snack tray.
Could you hear Ron in that situation? All right, Monica, it's your turn to get the snacks. And he would say it like that too. Snacks, not snacks, like normal, human being would. Snacks. Yeah. Anyway, any final thoughts, lads?
I've got a few, but they're not airable on YouTube.
I can't wait for the movie that gets made about this because
right.
Either we need to, once this is all done and over, Mark Waid's grand gambit of defeating himself, the ultimate move, suicide.
In Minecraft.
Just we have to make this movie. Hollywood won't make it. We need to fund this movie.
But who's going to play Mark
Hollywood
Waid?
Won't make.
Yeah.
I think Mark Waid should be played by different people in like every scene.
Oh no.
Very method acting. Yeah.
You say that Hollywood won't make it, but I think if you slightly altered the script, you could sell it to a Christian film company.
No. Well, Mark Waid is suddenly Martha Waid.
And she's a dirty, dirty sinner.
She keeps trying to ruin other people's lives, and yeah.
And she does those things with those dogs.
And then in the next scene, he's played like Hitler was by a proud woman of color.
Oh my goodness, y'all! That's great. That's great. Well, anyway, so who's going to be Piper tonight and do the bye-bye?
I can miss the bit.
All right. Okay, so here we go. So guys, once again, thank you for showing up tonight, and thank you for joining us and having a good time and whatever. We will be back Monday. And if things work out, I will announce it on Monday because I don't want to announce it too soon. But Tuesday or Wednesday might be kind of important.
Mm-hmm.
So we will see you then, and you all have a good weekend. And and you get a chance, go look up Mystical Comics on YouTube. That's Crystal McGee's brand channel. She's going to be doing something very interesting tomorrow. And I think everybody should go check that out. So, y'all check that out. And like I said, be sure to like and subscribe and comment and all that good stuff if you watch this later. And yeah, y'all have a good one, and we'll see you next Monday.
Later, nerds.
Bye-bye.